Hello there! Face reveal, I guess. I want to bind my own sketchbook for Peachtober, and I want to film the process of doing this. I've been really into book binding lately, and I created so many sketchbooks. For example, I did this one, and I'm so proud of this because it just looks amazing, don't you think? Oh. I love it. I need an excuse to make more sketchbooks. So I'm using Peachtober as an excuse for this. I think I did Peachtober one time 2 years ago, and it was right around that time where I started to change my art from just drawing anime girls and graphite sketches only in my sketchbook to doing very colorful art and drawing anything that I want at that moment. And Peachtober really helped me to boost my creativity in a way, because I could just experiment and try out new things that I didn't draw before, and it was just a very nice experience overall. So I want to do it again this year, and creating a custom sketchbook for Peachtober is just perfect because I can choose the size of the pages, which is nice. I want to have a very small square sketchbook, and I can choose the amount of pages so that there will be no awkward blank pages at the back. Also, this isn't going to be a tutorial on how to bind a book. I guess you could follow along, but I'm not very good at explaining stuff that I do. I will be following a tutorial by Sea Lemon on YouTube. I will put the link for that in the description if you want to bind a sketchbook yourself. I really recommend it. It's a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to this video because book binding is just a lot of fun, and it's a perfect way to create a sketchbook that you actually use and like, because you can choose the paper, you can choose the cover, you can choose the amount of pages, you can choose the size. It's just perfect. I've been really struggling to find the perfect sketchbook for me. The closest I got was the Leepheon sketchbook with the thicker paper, but it's very expensive. And binding your own sketchbook is really inexpensive. Maybe you have to invest in some crafting materials at first, but then you could also easily recycle a lot of stuff that you already have laying around. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm inviting you to, I don't know, craft along or draw along, or maybe use it as a background noise video while cleaning up. Let's get started! So, back to overview. I just wanted to show you the 2 sketchbooks that I already did again. This one I already showed you. But this is the first one that I did, and it's very cute. Yeah, it's very nice. And this one, yeah, you already saw this one. And for this one I used this paper, and I'm going to use it again today. It's very nice paper. I got it at the dollar store, and I think it was €8. I did some swatches beforehand so I can see what works best on this paper. Watercolor looks absolutely stunning on this paper. I love it. Also, the paper is very smooth, and I like smooth paper with just a little tooth to it. When it's too rough, I don't know, I don't like doing line art, for example, because it will look very scratchy. Colored pencils work very nicely, and for Peachtober I'm mainly using colored pencils and watercolor, so it's perfect for that. I also marked down the size of the paper that I want to use, so I will have to prepare these pages and cut them to the right size. And I also need to think about how many pages I need, because Peachtober has 31 prompts, of course. But I'm thinking of having an opening page and an ending page, sort of. And I also need to keep in mind that the backside of this, the first page, so to say, is glued to this decorative paper. I don't know how to call this. So I kind of need to figure out how many pages I have to use, because I want to have the right amount so that I don't have a blank page or, worst case scenario, not enough pages. That would be horrifying. I figured out I need 9 pieces of paper, and it took me longer than I want to admit to figure that out. It was kind of complicated and I kept confusing myself. But I think 9 pages is the right amount. At least I hope so. And then I used the piece of paper that I already measured as a ruler for the other pieces. I didn't want to measure the other pieces all over again. It would have been more accurate, but I'm not really going for accuracy, to be honest. No one will notice that maybe some papers are slightly bigger or smaller than others. Sadly, I couldn't divide the big piece of paper by 3. I could just fit 2 pieces on that. Now there's one slightly thinner strip of paper left and I don't know what to do with it. Maybe I will create another sketchbook with that, who knows? Well, but then I just folded these in half and these will be my papers that I'm going to use. Okay, so now I have all these folded sheets of paper, and now I will mark where I will punch the holes for sewing. I just have to make sure that this is very as straight as it can be. And to hold it in place, I will use these clamps. Okay, so now you can see I have marked the back of the folded paper, and now I can just punch holes in it. Put 2 books like this so I have a gap in between, and then I can just use a needle. It's just important that these holes will be big enough so that your sewing needle will fit through it. You could get an extra tool to punch these holes. It may be a little bit more comfortable for the hand because it has a handle, and that could help. But I mean, a needle just works fine as well. So you really don't need anything fancy to start doing this. You just need maybe something to punch holes and thread and needle, glue, some sort of paper, and you don't even need to make a hardcover book. You can just use the text block itself. So there are a lot of possibilities. Okay, so now that I have all the holes punched, I will gather them in signatures, and I will put 2 papers in one signature. Now I have all my signatures together, and now I can start stitching these together. I'm going to use the kettle stitch. I'm going to just thread the needle, and it would actually be better to use waxed thread because that won't tangle as easily. Just like the hole puncher thingy, this works fine as well. You just need to watch out for tangles a little bit better. Yeah, I'm just going to tie a knot. You always want to keep the knot on the outside so that If you have knots inside, then maybe the book won't close as easily, and this is the side that you will see. This will be glued in the end. Also, it's important to make this tight, but not so tight that the paper will rip. So, and now I've sewn everything together. Of course, we are far from being finished. This is the most tedious step, and after you're done with this, everything else will be a little bit easier. Now, I want to do the decorative pages, kind of. I don't know what these are called. I think they have a name, but I mean this. Yeah, the opening pages, I don't know. I want to keep it kind of simplistic with this one, so I'm just going to use this pink paper. Ugh, okay, this is going to be a little bit crooked. Oh well. And I need 2 of these. You know, I don't really care about accuracy. I want to value fun more than perfection. That's something I'm really trying to teach myself. Okay, so now we need to fold these. Well, my camera just died and I got a little frustrated because I glued down the decorative pages. That's just what I'm going to call them now because I don't know the right name. But it was really crooked and then I couldn't glue the spine straight. So I had to rip it off, and that's okay. It's okay. I just, you know, I can always start over again. And you know, this side will be glued over anyways, so I won't even see it. Okay, you know, you can always start over again, and mistakes are okay. So I really want to make sure that these are all aligned and straight. I will just glue the spine first and then I will glue on the decorative pages because it will be a lot easier, because as soon as this is glued it will be sturdier and then it won't move as much while I'm trying to glue this down. I'm just going to secure this. As I said, this isn't a tutorial, this is just me filming my process, and my process is often not very linear and not very clean and aesthetic, so I'm just trying to be real here. And gluing the spine down will give it some extra support, and it will also keep the threads from getting loose. I'm going to do multiple layers of this and I will let them dry in between, and I will put an extra clamp there so that there are really no gaps forming. I have finished gluing the spine. I wanted to add a bookmark, but the spine is too slim, so the bands that I have, they don't fit onto the spine, they are too broad, which is kind of sad. But I want to add something else too. I want to add, I don't know what they are called. I think they are called headbands. These thingies, I don't know if you can see this little thingy there. I don't know what to call it. They just add a nice finishing touch to it. And if I can't have a bookmark, at least I could have that. So I'm going to use some yarn and I need some paper as well. Yeah, that's enough, okay. Okay, so now I will apply glue to the back part of that. This will all make sense in a minute. This is the first one. I will glue it down and then I will cut off the excess. This one is done too. And then my boyfriend came over and I was too shy to keep talking during my recording, so it's voiceover time now. Anyways, I glued the headbands to the spine and I cut off any excess. And then I just prepared the decorative pages. I really need to look up what they are actually called, but I don't know how to look it up. I don't know how to search for it. If you know what they are called, please let me know. I'm very happy that I'm gluing them in now and that I ripped off the pink one because it was much easier to attach it now than my first try. My camera cut out again, but I don't know how far I've been able to record. I attached the first decorative page and now I will apply the second one. So just make sure that these are aligned. That looks good. And then I'm just putting the clamps on there again to make sure they're really secure. And in the meantime, I will prepare the hardcover. For the hardcover, I need some kind of chipboard. So I still have these pieces of paper that I use to measure out the size of my sketchbook, the size of the paper that I want to use. So I'm going to use this one for measuring because, you know, here I already have some glue on it and everything, so it's kind of hard to measure accurately. These are 10.4 centimeters. It should also be 10.4 on this. Yes, it's 10.4 by 10.4. But I will need to add 6 millimeters to the width, so it will be 10.4 by 11 centimeters. I guess I can already just trace this line. So now I will cut these out first, and I'm going to use an X-Acto knife. I'm going to use my ruler to kind of help me stay on the line. Now we have the front and back cover. And to measure the spine, you take the measurement for the spine plus one of the covers. 1.1 centimeters. Now we have all the pieces for the hardcover. And to see if it actually fits, I like to glue them together with washi tape temporarily. And this way I can check how much I need to trim off the sides. So for this gap here, I like to use 9 millimeters, and I already have a spacer made for that. The gap is important because otherwise the book wouldn't be able to close flat or open up flat. So that's why it's there. that that's done, I can put the text block in there and just hold it together like that. I know it looks very wonky right now. This gap won't be noticeable afterwards. So as you can see, there is quite a big space left here, and that space should be just as broad as this here. And I want to cut that down to the same size over here. Now I will check again, and that's looking better. Yes. Okay, so now comes the most exciting part in my opinion. Gluing it all together. For the cover I'm going to use this green cloth that I have. I know you're supposed to do differently, but I just used some Mod Podge and put it on a piece of paper so that I can glue it more easily. When you use Mod Podge, the glue can kind of leave stains on the cloth, so it's not very ideal to do that. I would glue down the spine first. Now I'm going to use the spacer again. Oh no, oh, I almost glued it on the wrong way. Now the second one. Now I'm going to turn it over and just kind of press on it so that, yeah, I can minimize these folds. Now that's as good as it can be. It's a little bit wobbly, but that's okay. So now I'm going to turn it over and cut off some of the excess. And now I will cut the corners at an angle so that I can fold them. And now I'm going to glue these sides down, and I will start with the top and bottom one. That is the base of the hardcover, I guess. Gluing in the text block is the scariest part in my opinion. So I will go full concentration mode and I won't talk probably. Now you can already see what it will look like once it's finished. So I'm putting in the text block and I will see if everything is nice and aligned. And now I'm really trying to not move the text block at all. Oh wait, I forgot to put a protective layer so that I won't accidentally glue two pages together. Okay, and now okay, so first one done. Now again. Now I I'm just checking if everything is nice and straight, and it seems so. Well, almost. You can see the gap here is bigger than here, but it's not noticeable, okay? It's self-made, so I'm allowed to make mistakes. But this has to dry overnight now, or at least 8 hours. And I will let it dry under a big staple of books so that there's nice pressure on there, because, you know, the glue is very moist. So if I would just let it air dry, it would probably buckle a lot, and I want to prevent that. Yeah, my book will just chill overnight under this big staple of books. And I guess we will see the results tomorrow morning. I'm very excited. Yeah, so now I guess all I can do is go to sleep. It's the next day, and this was drying under the stack of books all night. And I put knitting needles on like this on the other side as well to create this kind of groove in here. I don't know what to call it. It's not very noticeable because the cloth is separating from the paper a little bit in some spots, but I think it looks okay. I really like how this turned out. It looks very nice, very cute, and I'm very happy with it. Also this, I don't know, I really like when you open up the sketchbook and you see this page. It always looks so satisfying somehow. And I also really like this paper. I got it from a friend and I thought it would be perfect to use for this. And yeah, this is done. As I said, I'm very happy with it, and I can't wait to do the first few drawings, because today is already October 3rd, so I have to catch up on 3 Peachtober drawings. I think on here I will just do a cover page, and on here I want to write down the prompts, and then the drawings will start on here. I think I'm going to do a speed paint of the cover and then also the first prompt. Yeah. it's finished. I'm very, very happy with it. It's a very strong start for the sketchbook and I'm so excited for the next few prompts. And I also really like the way that I did this intro page and how I wrote down every prompt. And that's it, I guess. I'm, again, very happy with how this turned out. I'm very, very excited about this. I hope that you also had some fun watching this or doing whatever you were doing alongside. And I also hope you have a great day or a great week. And it feels very weird to say this, but maybe like and subscribe if you like this. And I hope to see you around again for my next video. Bye!